guys, it's Nina from VR Focus, and today is a Tuesday, so I'm going to be giving you another VR review of a VR experience or a VR game, and this week I'm going to be talking about Crowe. So I tried Crowe at Rogue Initiative Studio, and it was an unfinished game. There wasn't audio for any of the characters yet, they hadn't added music, but I can imagine that when it is added, this is an incredible game. The story takes you to a world where there's all of these magical, fantastical creatures, but there's also kind of a lot of technological things like mech warriors. And you're thinking like, oh wow, this is really cool. You are introduced to a fairy who comes out of a box, and she's basically your guide. She will take you across this fairy tale land, and you have to learn how to fight these creatures and solve puzzles. And eventually you find out little bits and pieces of the story of how this ancient race of advanced technology kind of was passed away and how they're under threat now. It's going to be done in episodes. In each episode you'll be given more bits and pieces of the story, you'll be meeting new characters along the way, and you'll be finding out more about this world. This is going to be a whole world that's probably going to be having lots of add-ons, so perhaps like a TV show or like a film. It's going to be a whole mesh of different things. I love fantasy, and I love mech warriors, and I love the bow and arrow. So in the game you get a bow and arrow, and you have to essentially shoot, obviously, enemies, but the teleportation system is a little bit different. So instead of teleporting in the map and choosing where you can teleport to, you have certain target areas that you teleport to. So you have to physically aim at the target, and that's where you would teleport to. Now, I am terrible with aiming, so I was standing there for several minutes trying to aim, and I just wasn't doing it. I wasn't basically pulling back the string for far enough. So I was just kind of going like that, and the arrow would just fall to the ground, and I looked like an absolute fool. If you pull back the string all the way, you will definitely feel the tension in your controllers, and I tried it on the Vive. You also have a shield, so you've got a bow and arrow and a shield, and you alternate between the two. And as you go through the level and you unlock the different puzzle pieces, so you have to learn how to block and potentially bounce different, I don't know the term for it. Bounce different bullets off of it, bounce it back at the enemy, or you could just use the bow and arrow. You have to kind of really think hard about alternating between the two, and I felt like I was starting to become like a pro with the bow and arrow. I had to fight these drones, and you had to protect sort of these crystals. And obviously I don't really know what's going on in the story, but these crystals are pretty important. And in the background you've got all of these amazing, I don't know, they look like statues of Power Ranger, like huge mech warriors. And then out of nowhere, after I defeat the drones and I protect the crystals, this huge serpent comes out of the water, and I thought I was gonna die. I like physically, even though I knew that it was in VR, I physically shrinked down, and I was absolutely petrified it was gonna eat me. And out of nowhere, out of these huge things, one of the statues or mech warriors comes to life, and it takes the serpent, and there's a moment where everything slows down and you have to aim at the serpent. I was just so frightened and scared I didn't actually do anything. I just completely missed again. The mech warrior just punches the serpent in the face, and it like attacks, and and you're just standing there and you're like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing, and there's nothing I could do about this. I thought like the mech warrior would like put down his hand, and I would like physically be able to go up on his hand and like go on his shoulder, and I would like see this humongous world. That didn't happen. But it was kind of like in my mind, and I could just imagine this being an absolutely incredible world. The combination of using different weapons, the idea of puzzle pieces, more story, more characters coming, and the mixture between high fantasy and science fiction and them melding together, I'm super excited about this game. For the people who aim terribly like me, I think they're going to be adding lots of different weapons as well. You've got an option to sort of fight different drones in an arena stage, and you also get guns with it. So if you're uncomfortable with the bow and arrow, you can use guns instead, and the more you practice, the better your aim. I highly recommend it. If this comes out, you should definitely try it. I think it's definitely worth it, and it's going to be coming out in episodes, so you'll be finding out more about the story. It's just a really beautiful game. At the very end, I feel like you could call yourself an archer. You could really aim and shoot and kill, and you can deflect, and you feel pretty awesome. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have a VR game or a VR experience that you'd like me to try out, add it to the comments below, and I will see you next Tuesday.